If you have 20 people in a room and you whisper a story to that person and you have it whispered the same way all the way to the last person, the story is going to change. I want to speculate about a few things that could reconcile a lot of the mysteries. And I hope most of my subscribers believe and accept that we once existed inside of a dwarf star's plasma sphere pre-cataclysm. When they talk about this purple dawn theory, that is what is referring to an entirely different type of light from the plasma sphere of our dwarf star. It's the same concept of the Aboriginal dream time and the ancient Egyptian Zep-Tepi the first time. And so a lot of the stories of Genesis are simply collections of ancient accounts of what happened. And they document changes pre-cataclysm and post-cataclysm. This idea of the fall of man and the loss of the Garden of Eden. And it says at one point, we were not meat eaters. And that the animals will now be terrified of us as if they weren't before. We now have rainbows. And that is because we did not have rainbows in that different kind of light. We are given seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, as if we did not have these things before. And that is because we didn't. This plasma sheath provided illumination to 100% of the planet. Now, the ice at the poles could have been due to intense, heavy auroras at the poles. It says you're going to have difficulty with agriculture, there's going to be thorns, and it's going to just be difficult. That is because in this light, even the plants suffer. And with the decreased vegetation, we turn to hunting the animals. Our lifespan was decreased because this sun's radiation is much more damaging, and for another reason. Which I'll get into in a minute. The story of the Tower of Babel, how we all had one language. Well, let's speculate that that language was mostly telepathic. When our pineal gland third eye worked properly. And there was even a connection to the animals because they have pineal glands as well. And that is why they are now terrified of us. They say humans go back at least 200,000 years. And yet, they don't start calendars until about 5,000 years ago. They want you to believe that we were sitting around for 195,000 years not keeping track of time. That idea is ludicrous. Once the plasma sphere was destroyed and dissipated, and the cataclysm is over, the sun, the moon, and the stars can now be seen. The new sun and the new moon, which the ancients speak of. In the plasmasphere where we evolved, let's speculate that our pineal glands worked perfectly. That place where Jacob wrestled with God, he named it Pineal. It's another Cataclysm story. And the pineal gland is connected to your immune system, which could also be another reason for the decreased lifespan. Your pineal gland is in the center of your brain, and it naturally produces melatonin and DMT, which is the psychoactive chemical of magic mushrooms. Now, there are people doing what they call pineal gland light therapy, and they are getting great results, they say. The topic of the third eye is a huge topic online. There's people warning you not to do it, not to mess around with it. And so, for 195,000 years, what were these people doing? Why didn't they accomplish what we accomplished in the last 200 years? Well, when you're living in the Garden of Eden and food is for the taking, I think these people were on a whole other level, consciously. They say the benefits of this light therapy is this. And so if you are bathing an entire race of people in this light where we originally evolved, you probably don't have the same desires that we have. Greed, stress, anxiety, warring with each other. Cataclysm is the fall of man. That's when everything changed. This theory reconciles all of these mysteries. Even the CIA was using remote viewers in sensory deprivation tanks, and the police still use them today. Perhaps you could do your own experimentation and meditation.